I wanted to do a video about the Kundalini. And I came to a beautiful place, Kamasia Nature Reserve here, just outside of Portland, Oregon, to get some peace of mind and do this video because it's healing for me. It's therapeutic. A friend of mine had asked me what were some ways, some questions concerning the Kundalini, as far as opening it and what the repercussions are. So I figured I would first start by giving you some negative effects, negative and positive effects, psychologically. See, a lot of people, they don't consider that this is an emotional situation too. They often only think about the physical part of it. Like, what's this going to do? Is it going to give me superpowers? Is it going to do this or that? Well, I will tell you straight up, I did no research. I had no gurus. I simply followed my body and I asked my guides for help in battling heroin addiction. And one of the things that they did for me was raise my Kundalini. And I'll tell you what, I was not prepared because it changed my life forever. And it's still changing drastically. So after my recent heroin relapse, after breaking down, the day after my emotional breakdown, with my girlfriend and, coming clean about everything, the day after, I had asked my guides in a teary speech right before a meditation for help. I didn't know what that help would be, but it was the Kundalini. I woke up the next morning with my lower spine tingling like crazy, and I had meditated quite a bit before this, but I never really knew how to access the Kundalini. I will say that I knew how to activate my chakras and stuff like that, but I never fucked with the Kundalini. I always thought that you had to go do all this crazy yoga shit, and change your diet drastically, do this and do that, but it turns out you don't. It turns out it's an emotional thing too, and we all know how powerful consciousness is. So anyway, it started tingling, and from my knowledge of moving energy or blockages in my body with my chakras, I then began to move this little tingling sensation up my spine. And I tell you what, it took about 2 hours, and it was a really slow process. I had even used quartz crystal wands to try to move this blockage, and it just would not budge. My intuition tells me that this blockage was not only physical but emotional blockages. Who knows how many years it had gone back, but I think that my crying the day before, it was really ancient traumatic wounds that I had released. I think that it broke something up inside of me to where I was able to then, activate the Kundalini. Anyway, so slowly but surely I moved this tingle all the way up my spine, and it took a long time, but once I did it, I got it up to, finally up to my neck, and then finally into my brain, into my third eye. And once it hit my third eye inside my head, I felt the pressure and everything. It just, a crazy sparkle of colors just flashed into my eyes, and and then once it did that, then it started tingling in my crown. Okay, and then I moved that tingle that was on top of my head slowly and spun it around the outside of my skull. And this was another process that took another hour or so. But once I spun that, tingle all the way around my body from head to toe, that I did not know it at the time, but that was my torus, or my toroidal field of energy. Just like the Earth's magnetosphere, same thing. But once I did this, I had a really large energy wave come over me to where, it felt like I had done a bunch of coke or just, but it felt a lot more pure. My whole body tingled. I felt really good. And I had a lot of energy. But also, this is the problem. I was still on drugs at the time, and it threw me into immediate detox. Okay. And this is a negative aspect if you're not prepared, because what the Kundalini enables you to do is vent energy through your body at a substantially faster rate. You're not getting blockages, okay? So anything that you consume will go through you that much quicker. And of course, this can be really, toxic for you if you have a certain lifestyle. If you're on a regimen of drugs, or, you know what I mean? I think I just stepped on a snake, but how fitting. If you're on certain kind of drugs, or on a certain regimen where you can't really, have too much leniency, or it's going to alter your life substantially, like it did for me. So it threw me into immediate opiate withdrawal, okay? And I had a job to do, a full-time job. And this was really kind of brutal. So thank God I was able to use the plant kratom to wean myself off of heroin. But I tell you what, I had to consume a shit ton of this stuff to keep weaning myself. And I'm not going to lie, I still take it to this day, just not nearly as much. So it can be really harmful for you in that sense. But if you're not on any other drugs, it can be an amazing thing for you as far as energy goes. Okay, so there's other negative effects of this too, and I'll talk about that now once I sit my ass down on this fucking rock. So it can be negative for you in one of several ways, because it changes your life forever. One of the things you'll notice is that you are so much more aware of your physical body, and the ailments that you feel, the blockages you feel like an intuition like never before of the origins of toxicity that enters your body, whether it's food related, chemical related, drug related, energy related, period, people related too. You will feel everything so much more, because you are in so much more connected to your body, or your aura or energy field. So it really will force you, and I'm serious, it will force your lifestyle to change. If you live in any kind of a toxicity, once again, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, it will force you to face this. And if you are not ready, like I said, if you aren't ready to change your life, like drastically change your life, then don't do it until you are ready. I would suggest making preparations. I was a, steak eating bodybuilder. I dirty bulked. I took pro hormones at one time. I shot heroin. Like, I was not into health, you know what I mean? But anyway, it forced me to change everything, because you are just so much more sensitive. I can't eat dairy, I can't eat dark meat. I still eat chicken and some seafood and stuff, but it's really rare. And even when I do, I have an overwhelming sense of guilt, okay? Because I've become so much more empathic in nature. And this is mentally, physically, spiritually. Everything is so much more meaningful to me. And I can't really explain it until it happens to you, but so you just become so much more aware of your body and the origins of the pains and the dis-eases that you feel. It just becomes so much more evident to you. You just know things. I don't know how to explain it. It's a deep intuition is what it really is. It's a clairvoyance. Anyway, you just have an intolerance, especially to negative people, ignorant people or arrogant people that are in a lower vibrational state of egomaniacal, behaviorism, people that are fake, people that just want to talk about sports or the latest trend. You just have such a intolerance for it, because it drags you down, you know what I mean? And you just can't do it. So that's another thing, is that it will change your life completely, as far as interpersonal relationships and friendships, and it will force you to live a lifestyle that has a lot more solitude. You'll become hermetic, like a hermit. And you will lose some lifelong friends. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm still going through this process, and it kind of sucks because I wasn't ready, and a lot of my friends don't understand it. They don't understand the changes that I'm going through, and I'm a metalhead. I was in a death metal singer for 12 years. And then my friends, I'm getting everything from pussy to hippie, so I just had to cut some people off for my own health and my own sanity, at least until I figure this shit out a little bit more. But so you will find that you need a lot more isolation, and it's not a bad thing, but you won't be totally, a hermit. You still need to go out, and what you need to do, and it took a long time for me to figure out, is that you need to find like-minded people. And a good way to do this, because you're so rare, people that go through this, is go online, and use hashtags, social media. There's a lot of good websites too that have articles concerning ascension symptoms, how to deal with them, the recent energy waves, other clairvoyance and psychic abilities, how to deal with them. I mean, because this is another thing that's happened. You become so much more spiritual. I mean, your chakras become really active, especially your third eye. Because you're just moving this energy through your body fluidically, and your pineal gland will come alive, and you will have more vivid dreams. You know what I mean? Everything from lucid dreams, you'll have astral projection, you'll have spirit contact. A brief story, I didn't mean to, but I channeled my girlfriend's deceased grandmother. Okay, I was just playing with a cat, and I had, not knowing this, but I put my hand on one of her grandmother's blankets that had a depiction of an angel on it, and all of a sudden I was just frozen with my hand on the shoulder of this angel, and I just locked eyes with it, and then all of a sudden all this information was transferred to me telepathically, telling me thank you for taking care of her granddaughter, and she's proud of me. And it was just an extreme situation. It was so extreme that I broke down crying after that, and then I was forced to, like, what do I do? Keep this inside, or do I tell my girlfriend? I was fearful of being judged, so that's another thing. You have to worry about communication with others, because it's really extreme stuff that will happen to you. And like I said, this can be really negative, because your relationships will be drastically altered forever. I don't talk to my family for shit anymore because they don't understand it, and I just feel really alone when it comes to them, and I have nothing in common, or I can't be fake either. That's another thing. It's so much harder for you to be fake. Like, oh, how about the beaver game or the duck game? You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit about that stuff. I don't care about the trivial crap on TV or the latest trend on Facebook, or all this shit. Like, it just becomes meaningless to you, and you want to search for deeper understanding and deeper knowledge. So therefore you have to cut off a lot of people, because they become toxic to you. It becomes a drain of your energies. You're just so much more sensitive to toxicity, is what I'm saying. I don't really know how to explain it any better than that. So anyway, I didn't really listen to any fucking gurus, because I feel like a lot of the yogis are holding on to the information as if it's like some kind of cookie for people, especially white America. Like, it's like the newest trend to go do a bunch of yoga until, in the elite part of yoga is Kundalini yoga. Like, I don't know. I've always been a natural rebel, and I'm really just not into it. But another thing though is that my Kundalini is forcing me to do a crazy stretching routines. Okay, so I'm eventually going to give into the yoga thing. I already basically do it before I work out at the gym. So that's another thing. If you're not prepared, your body will become so sensitive, and especially your spine and your back. Okay, so it will literally force you to stretch, or you'll just be in severe pain. Okay, so those are some negative aspects. Some positive aspects is an insane amount of creative energy. You'll just feel so much more energetic, and it's like a pure energy where you don't come down. A lot of the masters or whatever in India and other Far Eastern places that the Kundalini and yoga and all that's been around for thousands of years, because they didn't have any asshole social any social parasites or sociopaths taking advantage of them, so they were able to keep their knowledge that was passed down for thousands of years. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, some of these dudes are like wizards, man. They can not eat for fucking weeks and weeks, and they don't sleep, and they can go into extreme hot and extreme cold. And the reason is because of the Kundalini. It enables you to be able to get energy out of light instead of just food. I mean, that's literally what food is to you anyway, is you're consuming the light energy out of the food. So that's another thing. It will change your diet drastically. You'll be drawn to less dense foods, especially foods that are more rich in nutrients, especially light energy. So fruits and vegetables. And the reason is because they're whole and they're pure. An orange, for example, is a perfect sphere. It's already a toroidal sphere, and because of that, it has much more light energy in it. It was able to absorb it that much better. Whereas a piece of meat is a dense, it's fibrous and dense tissue, and it's not only that, but it's a slice of a creature, if you know what I mean. It's not a whole spherical, like, pure thing. And also has to do with cymatics and consciousness. Like the last thing that was going through these animals' minds before they were executed was terror and fear, and that was transferred into their body through their cellular structure. And cymatically, it probably damaged the food and gave it less energy. Okay, so this is why I often speak to my food before I eat it. Especially plants. Just a simple, do not be afraid. I love you. We are one. I repeat this to the plant, and the plant tastes so much more delicious after that for some reason. I've just been doing it, and that's how I bless water too. Sorry if this is a lot of information, but I'm trying to do it in one video. I think I'll have to do another video on it as what's up. So in my next video, I will talk about ways to break it open, and hopefully, if some of you are looking for a crazy life change, like a drastic change, like you're just sick of it all, because there is a process that people go through when they awake. And once you awake, you try to make everyone else wake up too, but no one wants to, so you start getting into the fear mongering of it, like, ooh, the government's doing this, the shadow government, the cabal, this, that. And then you'll come to a point where you realize that that's the way to rise above it, is just to fucking make it obsolete by not even talking to it. Don't give it your energy. So then you'll start to notice that you need to emit more light energy. And the way to do that is to tap into your heart field and the love light frequencies that you can channel from source consciousness. So anyway, in my next video, I will talk about ways to activate the Kundalini. So hopefully this was helpful to somebody. Have a beautiful night, and be expecting video number 2. Peace.